Welcome to I Am Ultimate's coverage of the 2021 Ultimate Canada Invitational. We're live from Ottawa, Ontario. A little bit rainy, but we're ready for some women's final action between Vancouver's Traffic and Toronto 6ixers. I'm Theo Wan here with Tushar Singh, bringing you the action here. Thank you for joining us. Really excited for this final. Tushar, what are you looking to see right now in this final matchup between the 6ixers and Traffic?
These are the top two teams in Canada. We've seen them battle again and again, time and time. They know each other well. We're going to see if they can come out strong, clean. We're looking at what their defensive pressure is also going to look like. So directly from this game, we are looking to see how strong these teams are. I mean, the matchup here could not be better. Top two teams in Canada.
For sure. We did see the 6ixers take out Traffic in the 2019 CUC semifinals. So we're hoping to see if Traffic can exact some revenge. If they win this game, they get a bid to WUCC. That's the World Ultimate Club Championships. 6ixers having already got a bid in 2019 by virtue of their victory over Quebec Iris in the final. We're ready for the first poll. 6ixers in the whites. A lot of them wearing shorts, Tushar. So interesting choice. It's a little bit chilly. It's a little bit of wind as well, while we can feel it here on the mics. Traffic in the darks. They'll be going left to right on your screen. And that's Molly Lewis with the poll. And we're off. Women's final. Exciting stuff. On with the disc. Saskatchewan native starting things off. Lynn underneath to Mason. Some of these Traffic veterans. See how this Traffic offensive line does. And a drop right away. Turnover. 6ixers chance to punch in a break early in this women's final.
That was a difficult drop for the Traffic squad. We'll really see if they can actually push this through, but 6ixers looking very good right now.
Lewis finds Dawson up the line. 6ixers see if they can be patient here in their end zone set. Rachel Cook, a rookie on this team from that Toronto junior system. Mason now. Patient offense here from the 6ixers, Tushar. Really just working it back and forth. Lewis.
It's very important for them to set that tone early on.
Fakes the inside, finds Nico Birch for the score, and 6ixers get the break early, and that's the start that you want if you are a Toronto fan in the audience.
That was not the tone that Traffic wanted to set right away. Traffic, of course, coming off their big weekend. And in this particular case, small bobble to create the turn, and then not a high-pressure defense that followed. I don't think they were ready for that, but it is also a very early game for this West Coast team.
We see Traffic out here with a new offensive line. So they're going to maybe rest or give their first offensive line a little break as we get the second defensive point for the Sixers going here. Tushar, traffic now going right to left. What's the wind situation like? Do they have anything to worry about going right to left on our screen here?
So the wind is going from left to right. It has switched from most of the games yesterday, but they did play in these conditions towards the end of the day. So it is familiar from that perspective. And they had plenty of warm-up as well in these conditions. Nothing really difficult from a handler perspective.
Up the line, looking deep for Julia Zhang, floating into space, and she scoops it for the score. Traffic gets a much-needed hold right there, and it's a tie game.
That was a beautiful throw, especially going to that direction with the wind. It was able to hang. They normally, if you're going to be going the other direction now, you're going to find the throws are going to be much flatter, lower, go to ground quickly. That nice put. It hung a lot longer than I think any of us expected as well, but she just had so much space to move into. So excellent strike.
What I really like, Tushar, is the coaching strategy of putting on your next best seven there in terms of another offensive line. Give the first offensive line a break, and now things are moving. First look at the Sixers offensive line and the first look at the Traffic D-line. So lots to see here. 1-1 early in this matchup. But Tushar, we got to be aware it's shorter game than maybe some people are used to, right? Only 70-minute long games.
Yes, it's a 70-minute long game as we've had the whole weekend, as well as if you watched the stream last weekend, it was also 70-minute games. And this game, I believe, is hard capped as well.
That is correct, yes. Dos Santos bobbles it. We've seen Dos Santos and Kimura, big stalwarts of the Sixers offensive line. Little split stack action and just gets out of Dos Santos' hands. Traffic now with an opportunity for an early break to take the lead and put it back on serve. Sue. Up the line for Ortega. Traffic knocking on the doorstep of a break. Finds Bolsheman. Whitehead playing some D-line right now for Traffic. Good patience here from the Vancouver group. Looking for options. Great fake from Bolsheman. Inside flick is blocked by Kimura. Sixers get it back.
That was a clutch D by Lauren. It's incredible to see these players play, and I think they were getting it to that point where Lauren would have that shot on it.
See, it's a little bit potentially of a slippery field as Mara almost bobbled that catch. Up to Dos Santos, and she's going to shoot up for Bobak. Bolsheman and Chase. Bobak skies for the score. Toronto's up 2-1.
Clutch D. It came down to Kimura's defense there on that end zone line. Otherwise, it's going to be a point. But if you looked at the movement as well, it was not an easy end zone for Traffic to actually move into. Required a lot of movement, tight coverage, so good team D.
It looked also a little bit messy there, Tushar, in terms of how muddied it was. It seemed like there were a lot of cuts happening. Wasn't really a set vertical stack in the end zone.
We did see a double cut there at one point, so two people into the same space or two cutters into the same space, and that clogged it up. This is something that Traffic will clean up. They're a veteran team. Even if you've got rookies on there, there's so much West Coast experience coming up through the system that it's unlikely we'll start to see that again. But two drops now, handler drops, with from each team, one each. And so that'll be the key to see if they can clean that up. As you mentioned, it is a little bit slippery out there. It's a little bit greasy right now. Cool as well. It's I'm starting to get cold up here in the booth as well. I don't know about you, Theo.
No, I got too much adrenaline pumping through my veins, so I think I'll be okay. We got more coverage coming for you, so stay tuned. Depending on who wins this game, we'll either bring you the women's game to go for the bid or a mixed quarterfinal. So good action. Sixers coming out in a zone set. I like the look, forcing Traffic going right to left. Rockcliffe, a veteran of this Traffic squad, finds Proby. So we see a little mix of offense, defensive line here for Traffic. Mason. Had Lynn going deep, looks her off. Goes around to Menzies, formerly Catherine Hui, but now we call her Catherine Menzies. Number 90, a player to watch out for Traffic. Rockcliffe goes inside. Ong. Another inside to Lynn, and Traffic makes it look easy on that one.
And that was breaks just right across the field. They started initially on the far sideline near their own brick mark and then just moved it to this opposite diagonal. Great work by Traffic, but it shows that that inside is something that Sixers need to shut down.
Yep, something to look forward to as we take a look on the field 7 there. It's the de facto kind of playing game to get to the game to go. Quebec Iris playing Winnipeg Fusion. So just to mark out the scenarios for you at home, if Traffic wins, they will take the gold medal, obviously, and take the bid to WUCC. If Sixers were to win, by having already a bid, there will be a playing game between Traffic and the winner of the far side game, which is Iris and Fusion. So lots to watch out for. We got a couple Vancouver Furious George players watching. They're cheering on their Vancouver squad. I'm sure there's some GOAT players out there as well. Furious George will be taking on Phoenix in the one semifinal, and GOAT will be taking on Mephisto in the other open semifinal. So lots of good action here from Ottawa, Ontario. We were hoping for maybe some sunny skies like we did last week, Tushar, but instead we got the rain.
I don't necessarily mind this. Different conditions make it interesting to play in, challenge the players, and make sure that they play each other. High-level games in a variety of different conditions.
Great catch. Another bobble from Dos Santos, so not a great start for number 70. She's played for Team Canada, played in the junior system. She's a young player, but a seasoned vet if you think about it, having played so many years. But a couple turnovers early gives Traffic a short end zone to work with. Can they punch it in? Looking for options is Wager. High stall count, hammer. And it gets either blocked or just a drop from Whitehead, but either way, Sixers gets it back. Goes around to Chan.
Well, Sixers will start to roll now.
Looking for Dos Santos. She's sure-handed there with the gloves on. We see a couple players I don't normally see with gloves on, bringing them out for this game. Seen a few different Sixers games that have not seen the gloves on Kimura and Dos Santos specifically. So 2 offensive line handlers that will be using the gloves.
It's coming in on stall 6.
Looking for options to Dos Santos. High stall count. Backhand break. Bowback takes it down. Kimura has the other Dos Santos down the line. And it's signaled a goal by Sheila Quintos, the observer. So Kimura to Dos Santos, Crystal Dos Santos for the score.
This Sixers squad on OND have excellent defense, what it looks like near the end zone, requiring plenty of movement. Traffic created that opportunity or had that opportunity gifted to them in the middle of the field, but were just unable to make it through. There was extremely tight coverage by the other Dos Santos sister. And so we do have 2 Dos Santos sisters on here. Theo, can you tell us about them?
Yeah, Crystal, the older sister, both of them having played for Sixers for a few years. From my knowledge, Britt having played in the junior system, Crystal starting a bit later. But they're 2 players to watch out for. A couple other sisters, I know the Chans are out there as well, Risa and Reeve. And right now we see Traffic taking a timeout, speaking with Coach Matt Doyle, who you might know from the old Furious days there, Tushar.
They definitely need to change things up. They've had 2 opportunities, and this adjustment that they're about to make here is primarily an offensive one, so it's an interesting time to call a timeout. I may have done that following this point, had it actually been scored, and then made that defensive adjustment at that time.
Yep.
However, Traffic hasn't actually forced any turnovers. The errors that have occurred have been unforced errors. And the throw into the end zone had lots of coverage from Britt, which is probably what perhaps got a piece of it, which caused the miss on Terry's side.
Yeah, Whitehead is a legend in her own right. Listed on our roster, 10 years on the squad, hails from Calgary, Alberta, but plays for Club Ultimate out of Vancouver. So pretty cool to see. Tushar, it is getting a little bit chillier up here. I'm going to throw on a jacket just because of, the chilly weather. So we'll see if the players start to feel it. We see on the sidelines a lot of the players putting on jackets as they come off. And it seems like a smart move there. As we see Jesse Sang wrapped up in a blanket along with Coach Carla DiFilippo. Big shout out to the coaches who are making things happen.
Carla celebrating a birthday recently as well during the week. And the week before was Coaches Appreciation Week. And as always, we do appreciate the coaches putting in the time and energy in this grassroots sport.
Split stack here for traffic, but Sixers in his own high throw. Rockcliffe has time. Calmly receives the disc. Mason and Rockcliffe, some veterans on the team, and they're going to be relied upon on the offensive line. Traffic now stuck on that open sideline. Gets over to Menzies. Lynn, big fake, makes Dawson fall to the ground, but nothing comes of it. Ong with a great snag. Looking around, but it's blocked, knocked away. Jury Chuck makes the play for the Sixers. And some confusion it looked like there, Tushar.
We had two cutters again going to the same spot, and the cutter in front possibly could have had the disc. Decided not to go for it, as we now see a little bit of a junky zone.
Mar going across the field to Jury Chuck, who got the block. Tries to toe the line. She does have great athleticism. Seen her do that many a time, but unfortunately out of bounds. And traffic now. Your offensive line. Chance to work it up. Get the hold that you need. Going right to left on your screen at home or wherever you're watching. If you're from Vancouver watching at home, we do appreciate it. It's early over there. So thanks for joining us. Lynn. Going around to Menzies. And Menzies work, give and go, and it's a turnover there. So perhaps a little bit of the rain and wind early morning causing some turnovers in this matchup. Dawson. Kinoshita had Jury Chuck, looks it off. Lewis powers a flick, looking for Mason. She's going to run it into the end zone. And it's a score. Lewis to Mason, and Sixers get another break. Going up 4-2.
That's the second break that they have in this game, and that throw was spectacular. It floated perfectly, and Laura Mason actually making that run to make sure that she scored the point. And that's what you want out of a striker as well. You want a striker who will confidently be able to take it in the end zone, can read the wind, can read the disc, and score those points, because the rest of her team was pretty much in the other half of the field. And that throw from Molly Lewis is the second assist she has in this game.
Yeah, Alyssa Mason able to run it in there. So there are two Masons in this game, which is could be tricky for the audience, but there's an Alyssa Mason that plays on the Sixers, and then there's a Laura Mason who plays on traffic. So if you get confused, we'll try to point it out for you. But keep typing in the chat, typing in some comments, maybe even where you're watching from. Do appreciate it. As we're streaming, what is it, 5 games today, Tushar? Is that right?
Yeah, we're only doing 5 games today, Theo.
Only
doing 5 games
only.
today.
That's what I heard.
We did 6 games yesterday, and so we thought with you coming in, we don't want to spread you too thin.
It's true. I appreciate that.
So that's why we're only going to go with the 5 games. Temperature-wise here, it is going to be fairly cool throughout the day. It is 10 degrees right now with a 12 kilometer per hour wind from the east, which is left to right.
Ortega caught the short pole. Rockcliffe. Traffic needing an 0 point now to keep pace. Zhang. Whitehead's getting defended really well by Birch and causing some trouble. Morcilla catches the disc, but there was a pick call.
And we just want to relay here that when the observers, or you see the observers on there, they're simply relaying the call that's happening on the field. They're not actually making a call. They make active in-outs and in the end zone or not calls. But aside from that, until they tap their shoulders, they're not making a call.
Morcilla looking for options. Someone's going to have to go backfield. Boschman, nice grab from the one they call Bosch.
And another pick call up the field. And it's going to be coming in at 6. So higher stall count.
Traffic's going to have to find a reset early here. Ortega up the line for Boschman. Traffic right on the doorstep. Going around to Rockcliffe. Zhang powers her way for the score. That's a Rockcliffe to Zhang. And Traffic, you needed that hold. Zhang with her second goal of the game. But that was a much needed goal there.
That was almost a turn as well. You could see the poach D and just kind of threading or making its way through. Important point for Traffic. I can't say they're looking comfortable right now. They definitely look like they're being challenged. 6ixers, of course, one of the top teams in Canada and would also be normally participating in the USA Ultimate Series, where these teams would inevitably meet because that's what always happens when they go and play in that particular series. But 6ixers have already locked up a bit, Theo. So let's go over the scenarios again.
Yeah, so within the scenarios, I have a question for you, Too Sharp, because if 6ixers were to win this game and Traffic were to come out as the loser and play the winner of Iris or Fusion, if you're Traffic right now and let's say the lead balloons to 3 or 4, okay? Too Sharp, I want you to picture that. If you're Traffic, do you try to make a comeback or are you trying to rest up for the second place game, which is the de facto bid game? What do you think there?
That's a good question. These games are 70 minutes long and there's 20-minute breaks between games. You can really treat both of those games as one bigger game. And given this is the first game of the day, teams are well rested. They could almost have this as a warm-up and then go into that second game as Kimura gets the disc.
Flood stack as DeSantos knocks over her own teammate there, Sarah Innes, number 51. And they're flooding to the break side of the field. That's the far side for you watching at home or wherever you are. Maybe you're watching at a cafe or somewhere, but hopefully you're snuggled up with a nice warm beverage and a blanket there. And watching this women's final action here from Ottawa, Ontario. Theo Wan here with Tushar Singh. Thank you for joining us. Kimura spinning around, looking for options right now, finds DeSantos on the reset, and she finds her sister. DeSantos settling in now, number 70, after a couple turnovers early in this game, and that's what you want to see from elite players, able to shake off negative plays. Kimura, great layout to save it. Attended UBC, but playing for 6ixers now, living out here in the East Coast. Around to Trong. Great poach off for Traffic. That was stifling some of 6ixers offense.
And a pick in that stack. Just looking at everything that's going on right now, 6ixers are dictating the pace of this game. They are fully in control.
That's a great observation, Tushar. That's why you're out here bringing the analysis. Props to Tushar. He's also operating the camera and the scoreboard. So he did all yesterday. I'm just able to provide some commentary here today. Chan, not in, called by observer Alex Tacone. Kimura bursting up the line for the score, muscles her way in. That's Reeve Chan to Lauren Kimura. And 6ixers get the hold.
Yeah, that's a difficult adjustment. If you're Traffic at this point, there was almost no challenge on any of those throws. 6ixers were wide open. 6ixers are looking well rested and seem to have the power to get through. I mean, if you're looking at particular teams or players that would actually, if you're looking at particular teams that would be looking to challenge them, I think yesterday's game with Iris, they had the depth there to actually challenge Traffic, but I'm not sure there's any teams right now that could potentially challenge 6ixers in this tournament. But you have some of the scores. You know the scoring history from yesterday's games. Theo, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Iris and Traffic, from what you told me, Tushar, because you streamed that game, it was close for most of it, then Traffic pulling away. I did see Fusion get a big score early with a huge celebration, so that might have been a break. So unfortunately, we're not able to get a score update. We'll try to get you one as soon as we can and relay it to the audience there.
I'm seeing a score on that field of 4-3. It looks like 4 for Fusion, potentially 3 for Iris, but we'll keep track on it.
6ixers to pull Alyssa Mason, who scored earlier on a beautiful huck from Molly Lewis, a break for them. Ong receives it to Lynn. Another zone look. This time, the first time we've seen it kind of going left to right for Traffic. Low throw. Rockcliffe can't scoop it up, and 6ixers another opportunity. Half is at 7, so they're knocking at the door. Dawson picking up. Fakes the inside. Finds Kinoshita. Dawson with some big fakes, moving her mark. Looks off her reset, but finds Kinoshita in the end zone, and 6ixers are rolling right now.
The Traffic handling line is been looking very rattled. They're uncomfortable. Some of these throws extremely low, going to the ground. That wasn't the first one in this game that was that low. This might be a time to consider another reset moment, but you asked the question of, would they need to rest? And I don't think so. I think whoever has to play the next game coming out of this, which at this point looks like Traffic, will be fairly well rested, and that should be a fairly high energy game. And the other teams over there, Fusion and Iris, are battling, because while we do have one bid and probably that second bid, if countries decide not to send their teams to the U.S. because it's happening in the States next year, there's going to be more bids opening up for Canadian teams.
And U.S. teams, right?
And American teams as well. And that was a conversation on Tony Leonardo was on Twitter last night, essentially responding to, I believe it was Gwen Ambler, on that. And so there is the opportunity for more than 2 bids, 3 bids, 4 bids. And so every single game that's occurring right now matters.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. And 6ixers trying to take half right now. Up 6-3. Proby to receive. Finds Wager. More of a defensive line look. I see Ortega out there as well. Bolshman, Naomi Morsilla. Nicola Parker, one of the captains. Popped up throw. Bolshman able to secure that. You're right, Tushar, that Traffic looks a little bit rattled. See if they can settle down here on this offensive point, get their D-line out there. Maybe make some things happen. They did start on offense. Proby. Inside. Looks like there may be a foul call.
And there looks to be a call that just definitely came out at an angle that was not intended. Appeared to be a little bit more OI. Apologies, IO rather than OI, which is what it needed to be.
So Molly Lewis on the mark. Sandra Hansen, the observer. We'll see what her ruling is.
Well, she's indicated that a foul has been called. She's now listening to both of the participants. And the observers aren't coming in directly making a ruling unless they can cleanly make the case. But trying to determine what has happened. For those that were also asking earlier, yes, Jordan Marin is on the sideline rolling around on a little scooter. Jordan had a injury about 2 months ago, I would say, and is in the process of recovering. Observers made the call. Foul coming in on stalling 1. And we can see that this is extremely bunched up right now for Traffic. So we should see a handler come out of the stack.
We did see that earlier with some muddled end zone play from Traffic, so we do hope to see them settle it down here. Parker goes around to Zhang. Inside throw. Great catch by Wager. That was a tight throw. I thought Risa Chan might have got there, but probably not the throw that she particularly wanted, but it gets the job done, and Traffic, you get the much needed hold.
That's the tighter defense we're seeing from the Sixers as well, as they're challenging many of these throws, especially close to the end zones, these forced IOs. They're in position to get a bid, and that was a phenomenal adjustment by Traffic player to actually come in underneath and make sure that they retain possession and tow it in at the same time.
Yeah, that was first-year captain Brianna Wager with the grab. The other captains for Traffic are Daisy Lynn and Nicola Parker. So 3 captains for the Traffic squad having to fly down. I think some of them came down, would have been on Friday. I know some teams came down a bit earlier. Fierce came down a bit earlier, depending on, what work schedules are like and different travel schedules. But a lot of these teams, especially in the mixed division, Tushar, are from Ontario, so pretty Ontario-heavy mixed division. A couple teams from Vancouver, one from Manitoba. So like to see the geographic diversity out in this tournament. I just like to see players I haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah, it's been an interesting few years of having a disconnected community. It's one of the reasons why we're here, just to reconnect, make sure that we can provide this so that you also can reconnect. And there's always concern that on how this affects the non-elite teams, the teams that aren't here, the community and the grassroots, on how it builds up. And that's an uncharacteristic throw by Kimura.
Low throw there, not what you wanted for sure. Boschman was in coverage on Bobak, but I don't think she would have got the block. So definitely low throw. We see Zhang out there for another second straight point as Traffic trying to power up this defensive line maybe. Rockcliffe and Whitehead out there, Menzies, trying to get this break going left to right. They need patience in the end zone. We've had a couple turnovers, especially in this direction. Rockcliffe looking for Boschman up line. Kimura's in the area, and that throw just going to sail out of bounds. Sixers gets a reprieve.
That was an interesting setup there. Commentary from the Furious sideline was, why didn't you make certain throws? And certainly we could see it from up here, but on field, it feels like Sixers are also baiting.
And the round throw is batted. Could stay in bounds potentially, but Zhang knocks it away. Good coverage. Almost took out the injured Jordan Marin there, which you don't want. She's already got a torn Achilles, so I don't want to see her double injured.
And because of the defensive play there, it comes in where that last D was made.
Whitehead bursting up line. Need a reset. Finds Parker. This looks like a really souped up Traffic line right now. A lot of their star players out on this field. Morcilla's out there. Whitehead, as I mentioned earlier. Really need this break. Don't want to go down half 7-4, especially in a shorter game to 13. Parker going around to Morcilla. She can't lay out to get there. And Sixers gets their third chance here on offense.
Kimura to pick up the disc. Just going to wipe it down to make sure that she's got that grip.
She's actually got 2 turnovers on this point so far. A low throw and then a round that got batted. And she throws a 3rd turnover, looking for Dos Santos once again. So Traffic does have a timeout if they choose to use it. Looks like they're going to play through it right now. Menzies was going deep. Coming back under. They basically just isolated her in the space and she drops it. Sixers once again. This is one of those grindy points, Tushar, where if you're Sixers, if you can get this hold, it just generates so much momentum heading into half, knowing that you're able to make a play on such a turnover-filled point. Ennis. And as I say that, a turnover from Sixers. And is that 3 apiece, it looks like, on this point, Tushar?
It's been a messy point.
Menzies looking for Whitehead. She tumbles into the end zone for the score and the traffic break. Big point for them. Menzies to Whitehead, the legend. And traffic gets the break. It's 6-5.
Yeah, you might look at that and say, fairly substantial break to go into this, to earn this particular side and earn that point. But there were plenty of mistakes by both sides. That was not clean. I don't think anyone is happy with the potential results aside from the silver lining for traffic to get that point. The second throw by Kimura, which went a little bit deeper down the field and still a little bit low, was a high stall count. So traffic turned up the defense there in order to make that possible. As we go into this timeout, Theo, who called the timeout?
Sixers called the timeout there. We see Mason kind of in the middle huddle now getting out of it. But Tushar, my question to you is, we talked about how traffic was definitely looking maybe a step behind Sixers dictating things, but would you say that the tide has turned a little bit with traffic dictating a little bit on defense now, or is it just unforced turnovers from the Sixers, or what do you think, a mix of both?
It's a little bit of a mix of both. There's definitely players on traffic who can keep up with the Sixers' pace. Sixers generally appear to be the faster team, at least what we've seen from an energy perspective coming into this game. For the traffic side, they have the players. We know that they have the players like Catherine Menzies, Chewy. We know that Whitehead is there. We've seen the speed from these players and the ability to dictate that. So it's a bit strange to have that point where there were 6 turnovers, and especially from the veterans. And I can't blame the conditions. Conditions are pretty good. And perhaps that's just one of those numbers, right? Statistically, points like that should happen, especially after we had a series of clean points. That said, the disc is slippery, especially every time it hit the ground. There wasn't necessarily the opportunity to go and clean it up.
So we're going to take a look at the Sixers offensive line here. Just so you know, from left to right, Sarah Boback. We're actually looking at the traffic defensive line, apologies. But I just want to highlight that the Sixers offensive line has Lauren Kimura not on the field. So 3 turnovers on that point. They're going to sit her. Dawson out there handling. And traffic really just shortening their lines. You're seeing a lot of the same players on the field. Kinoshita looking for Boback. What a throw from Kinoshita. And the Sixers take half 7-5.
Big point there, big throw as well for the Sixers to move it in the end zone that quickly. Great set play.
Yeah, with that set play, we're going to go into halftime here at the Ultimate Canada Invitational in Ottawa, Ontario. We're going to take a break, get some hydration in. It is cold, but we still need to stay hydrated, both for the players and the observers and those in the booth. And we'll be right back here. You're watching I Am Ultimate's coverage of the 2021 Ultimate Canada Invitational. right back here, 2021 Ultimate Canada Invitational. 6ixers versus Traffic. Pick called downfield. Traffic taking half. 7-5. Excuse me, 6ixers taking half. 7-5. Traffic with the disc. Dos Santos goes around to Kimura. She's back on the field here for this offensive point. Just moving quickly here. Going up line. Kimura with a great layout. Fakes up line. Goes backhand instead to Dos Santos. What a smart play from Lauren Kimura. Second assist of the game for her. Apologies if we missed that point there. Trying to operate the camera and speak at the same time, but also at an awkward angle. So 6ixers up 8-5 right now. And if your Traffic, time potentially starting to run out. It's 9:42. Game ends at 10:10, so just little over half an hour away. You do want to try to win this game so you don't have to play a second one. So that is important to note as well. Carla DiFilippo, their coach, along with Jessie Sang. Looks like she's hurt and not playing. I do know that. She is injured. So she's out there helping out the squad. Traffic coming on offense. Cheryl Andre out there. Haven't seen her much, or at least of note. Danny Proby's out there. Ong. Mason. Menzies and Rockcliffe. Ong centers to Lynn. Zone look here from the 6ixers. Apologies for the camera misuse there. Proby looking for options. Great outside throw to Hui. Finds Mason. Up the line to Rockcliffe. Looking for Lynn, but miscommunication. 6ixers take over. Floating it out. Pretty throw from Lewis. She has Alyssa Mason versus Laura Mason. And Laura Mason with the block. A little Mason versus Mason matchup. Zone look again from the 6ixers. Traffic having some issues earlier. Lynn has Proby as her dump. Ong on the far side. Fakes the hammer. Proby goes up line, and now Lynn's able to get the around to Ong. From Saskatchewan. Finds Andre. Traffic moving it up. Some miscommunication earlier on this point, but otherwise Traffic able to work it, at least on the zone offense. And as I say that, a turnover, drop from Mason. Tough throw. Lewis calls a timeout. Interesting that they decide to call a timeout right off the half. Not sure if that's a time thing or maybe just to settle down the squad. Still lots of time left. 25 minutes to go, and we're going to get a score update for you for the Iris Fusion game. Looks like, from as far as I can see, it's 7-6 Fusion. We'll see if we can get that confirmed. But timeout called, and we'll be right back. We're back here. Women's final. Sixers on the doorstep. Just called a timeout. Their first one out of the half. Lewis goes around to Risa Chan. Lewis quarterbacking this D-line offense. Kinoshita on the doorstep. Finds Birch for the break. Sixers get another point there. And it's 8-5. Excuse me, 9-5. Birch with their second score. Nine 5 for the Sixers. Game to 13. So if Traffic wants to make a comeback, they're going to have to start soon, or else it's going to be a gold medal for the squad from the Toronto Sixers. So Alyssa Mason with the pull. Traffic on offense, going right to left on your screen. Cup look here from the Sixers, little zone look. I like it. Slow down the pace of the game. Traffic gonna have to play a bit with the time. There is a hard cap. There's no soft cap today. Zhang going inside, floaty throw. Ortega able to snack it. And we are live. We're back. Stream is back and running. We appreciate you joining us. It's 9-5 now. Sixers getting 2 breaks out of the half. Ortega. They need this hold. Floaty throw. Boscheman snags it for the score. Sixers gets a big hold. (6-9) is the score. Score update for the fans at home. If the score plays the way it is now, Traffic would play the winner of the Fusion Iris game, and currently Winnipeg's Fusion leading Quebec Iris, or Iris if you're Anglophone, 7-6. Tushar, we're back live. We're ready to go. And yeah, I just gave you the score, I believe, so hopefully that helps. It's 9-6. We're trying to get through the comments as best as we can. And yeah, if you're watching from whatever city you're from, throw it in the chat. Get the chat bumping and grooving here. I'm Theo Wan here with Tushar Singh. Time to do a quick plug here because we got a minute. If you like listening and hearing about Canadian Ultimate, check out the Hucking A podcast. I host it with number 32, Danny Proby on Traffic. She's been playing some offensive points, so really cool to call my co-host game as well. So you can find it on any podcast platform. You can find it at ultiworld.com/huckinga, and you can follow us on all the social media platforms. We'd love for you to do that. And throw some love to I Am Ultimate as well. We're going to tell you after this point here, Tushar, we'll tell them a way to donate and where they can put some of their funds to and what cause it's going for. But we're going to get right back into the action in this here. Sixers, we'll see if they can get a smooth hold because Traffic, they want to double up, get that break train rolling both ways here. Trong kind of fighting through the air, it looked like, and Whitehead in coverage. And Traffic now, chance to get another break and get right back into this matchup down 9-7. Great layout, but it ground strip. We saw that last week as well in the Masters Division, Terry Whitehead. Looking down the line for her sister, Crystal. Her sister gets it back. Britt Dos Santos. We'll see if it's a Dos Santos point. Looks her off. Goes around to Mar. Inside throw, and Trong scoops it up. Sixers, big point. Tushar, we're back and running. I know it was a tense few moments there trying to get the stream going, but we're back, ready to go. How you feeling?
I think it's going to be a tense day as well. Right after this game, we'll be working on fixing up the streaming. We're using our alternate internet connection right now. And so whenever we come and do these streams, it's always something that goes wrong. Yesterday, it was the weather was not ideal. Today, the equipment is acting up to a degree. So we try and have redundancy where possible. It does take us a few moments to switch over as well. As part of this, as Theo, as you mentioned, there are expenses associated with this, running the stream. Ultimate Canada has covered a component of it in terms of they've provided us with scaffolding, they've provided us with clean water to drink from time to time as well, the tables, power, a generator. These are the fundamentals of on location. However, there are other expenses, and we're covering all of them ourselves. For example, driving up hotel rooms, crashing at people's places, things like that. We're not asking for donations for ourselves, though. We're taking on that expense. What we would like you to do, if you are able to, is donate to the charities that we have listed on imultimate.com/live, in particular FN Caring.
Now we're going to tell you more about that after this point here. Just back to the action. Proby gets it knocked away by Dawson. And the Sixers 3 points away from the gold medal. They can go home to Toronto happy knowing they did their job. Sixers not going to the USAU series this year. Traffic, the only Canadian team doing so. And maybe they're feeling the effects from last weekend. They were able to take down Riot in the final. Dawson right outside the end zone. Going up line is Kinoshita. She grabs it for the score. And the Sixers up 11, 2-6. And time is running out for the squad from Van City. There's about 17 minutes left in this game, but it might go to cap, Tushar. It's 11-6.
I think we're definitely seeing a difference in energy between the two teams.
Yes.
We're Sixers are definitely more amped up and have demonstrated the control they have over this game. Traffic now making a few line calls and sending out many of the players that have already been playing in this game. We see Whitehead out there again. And they need to send one more player out, just the 6 so far. But different energy on that sideline. And I'd also say Traffic here, yes, they have quite a few players, but it doesn't look like their full squad is necessarily here. Doesn't look like we see, 24 players on the actual sideline. And as you said, different time zones, travel distances, etc., can all play into this, but this is a big game. And first thing in the morning too. They should have come here with the energy.
Yeah, I think they had some of the energy, Tushar, to be honest, in the beginning, but started to fall off a little bit once some breaks started coming in. A lot of teams have that issue when things go awry. How do you respond? It's hard to sometimes have that artificial energy be made, as we see Nicola Parker, one of the captains. Zone look here from the Sixers. I do like the look, Tushar, because it just slows things down, stops some of their pull plays, takes the handlers out of their usual funk. We don't see some of the handlers that we've been seeing on Traffic for this point, like Rockcliffe, for example. Parker now into person defense for the Sixers. Some big fakes. And scooped down by Zhang. She is able to save it. Was looking for Ty in the backfield. Do see a couple of players on the field for Traffic that we haven't seen so much, as Ortega shooting deep for Zhang. Excuse me, that is Alvarez with the catch. And either way, Traffic, you need that point.
And that was a great look. It looked like there was a pretty good tight coverage, but just brought it out and sent it down the field. Nice float at the end as well. It is tricky with the wind, I would say. and judging that correctly, especially in these colder conditions. I was chatting with the red flag player yesterday, and they said, yes, while these are conditions that they are used to normally when they're going over the winter, they've perhaps lost touch of it over the summer, which has been quite hot and dry. So perhaps a little bit out of practice as well and playing rainy weather.
I mean, Tushar, it's October here in Ontario. Just turned October. We know the weather hits a little bit colder here. And that was maybe not a concern I had going into this tournament, but definitely a thought I had was, will teams from Vancouver or other parts of the country be able to adjust to some of this fall Ontario weather? It is not summer CUC. It is not August. It is October. I see gloves. I see pants. I even see some toques on the sideline. And for good reason. A little chilly out here.
I will say, though, CUC Edmonton was much colder and windier than this. And these teams that we have, similar in nature, excelled as well in those conditions.
Second day Edmonton, I wasn't personally there, but saw it on the streams, and it was a little bit chaotic with the wind things there. So definitely interesting second day. Dos Santos going deep out of the handler position, and just too far. So if you're traffic, this is what you need. Time is not on your side. 13 minutes left. Coming out horizontal stack.
That was a big put, and I think the right play.
Yeah, I agree.
Just makes traffic think once again. That was not that far off the mark, and Kimura was not challenged at all.
Kimura instead challenges for the block, but there will be a foul call there. She was working against Naomi Morcilla. But fun fact for you, Morcilla actually was on the practice squad, but couldn't commit due to school and other things. But she's here playing, 24 years old, but has been on the team for 6 years. That's pretty amazing, Tushar, just to know that fact.
Plenty of these players have a lot of history on all these teams.
6ixers gets the disc right on the end zone line. Kimura fakes the around. Mar dancing. Kimura again. Looking for Dos Santos coming. Bursting out of the stack as her sister. And she can't get there. So 6ixers letting traffic still kind of knock at the door, you know. Just hanging on by a thread. But they're still in it as 6ixers goes in a zone look. And Bolshman, instead of walking up the line, taps it right away. Smart veteran move there from the former Iris player. Up the line, high throw. Blowback knocks it down, but there's sure to be some sort of call. And looks like it's uncontested. And Monica Sue is going to keep the disc for traffic. Good to see the spirit here, especially in the finals.
I think it's always there. And these players know each other, and they know when they made an error.
High throw, and Dos Santos scoops it up. 6ixers another opportunity. And as I say that, a turnover to Mar, just out of her left hand. And if you're traffic now, you're so close to the end zone, you need to get this point in now. Make it close, 11-8 with time ticking down. We said it might go to hard cap, but we'll see if traffic makes a little bit of a run. Morcilla fakes the around. Now hits it to Sue. More disciplined vertical stack here from traffic than we saw earlier in this game. Maybe settling into some of their systems. Inside throw, great snag. That was Sarah Norton coming all the way from Alberta. Another Alberta transplant here on this team. Previously playing for Fleury. Things not coming easy for traffic, but they're close to the score, and that's all they care about right now. Bolshman looking for Morcilla, and they get the point. Like I said, it wasn't easy, but they got it. It's 11-8. Don't look now, but we got a game, folks.
On the resets there, a lot of laying out, and that can be due to the footing of this field. This field's seen quite a bit of traffic. It is not dry out there, so plenty of might just be half a step off.
Yeah, Sixers is going to take a timeout here. We're going to take a timeout here on I Am Ultimate and be right back from the 2021 Ultimate Canada Invitational. You're watching I Am Ultimate's coverage of the 2021 Ultimate Canada Invitational. Theo Wan here with Tushar Singh, bringing you the women's final between Toronto Sixers, Vancouver Traffic. The Sixers up 11-8. Tushar, we talked about donations earlier, but we didn't get to say where it goes to. So can you do that quickly before this point gets going?
Yeah, for this tournament, we've been asking for donations to FN Caring, First Nations Caring. You can find the link on imultimate.com/live. Just going to the streaming schedule as well for today, Theo. We will take a short break and go offline after this game just to fix up our equipment a little bit more and see if we can get back to our steadier connection. But after that, we're expecting the scoreline holds, another women's game.
Looks like Fusion right now. Fusion's winning. So,
and then after that, mixed open mix or open mix, something like that.
Yeah, open final coming after that, and then potentially open game to go if Furious were to win that. And then mixed final. So lots of action-packed Frisbee for your Sunday morning, or if you're in Vancouver, really Sunday morning. As Dawson now going around, plus she traveled as she threw as well, and that's going to be a turnover. And now Traffic, you're making it interesting for the fans at home. We love to see it. 6 minutes left, far throw, and Dos Santos is going to knock it down. Actually knocks a little further to her area towards the Sixers end zone, which you don't really want. But Sixers, you got to get this smooth hold right now. And as I say that, blowing a tire is strong. I think the field is a little bit slippery, as you mentioned, Tushar, and we're seeing it a bit with some of the handler cutting. We saw it with Trung there. She just lost her footing. It is unfortunate, but both teams have to deal with it, so it's not going to favor one team or the other. Both of them wearing cleats, and it's all good. Ong, really been impressed with her play as a handler. I know coming from Saskatchewan, a smaller ultimate community. Big block from Dos Santos. Thought there might have been a foul call there. Andrew Moore maybe called something, but decided not to. Dawson finds Kinoshita, and Dos Santos is up line, but huge hand block. Are you kidding me? What a hand block. That was crazy, Tushar.
Important timing in this game with about 5 minutes left in order to get that block. But this deep coverage off the stack.
And another great block. Lauren Kimura flying through. What amazing plays here in the women's final. Tushar has been really fun to call in the booth. And wow, oh wow. Lauren Kimura flying through. Trung isolated. They don't hit her. Dos Santos. Sixers got to settle down. I'm so excited. I'm sure they are as well. Adrenaline pumping through the veins. And it's a ground strip on Bobak. So Traffic, you're hanging in there. Gonna need a point soon because of the cap. 4 minutes left, 2 cap. Alvarez backhand instead. And Bobak takes it down. Could this be all she wrote? Could be, folks. With this much time left. down 3 points is Vancouver. And as I say that, great block from Cheryl Andre. Will there be a call?
There is a call on that one, but on the sideline, the Sixers players were also indicating or felt like that was going to be a block even before the throw. They saw the coverage. We'll see if there was contact during that time and what the conversation results in.
If you're traffic, you want this to be resolved quickly, Tushar. You don't want to kind of get into conversation. You just want it to be resolved so that you can get this play going, because you're down 3 with, what's the time now?
About 3 minutes left.
3 minutes. So there's no more time for talking. You just gotta move in here.
So I think, Theo, we're just going to see that this game is basically played out at this point. With the scoreline the way it is, it's going to be difficult for quick turns. Theoretically, certainly possible, but
maybe some Callahans or something could happen, right?
Could happen, but in practicality, I think we're looking towards the next game already.
Whole second block of this point. Had a hand block earlier. You see traffic working a little bit of urgency here. There's a pick called downfield, which will stop play.
Not to take anything away from this point, it's been incredibly athletic with the layout Ds, the hand blocks. And that's this is certainly shaping up to be a great final towards the end of this game.
Yeah, I see Iris just scored a point on the other side as well. So a big block happens. Lots of action happening at UPI. There's just so much going on here as we're trying to keep track of it all. Kimura up the line, and Dos Santos scores, and that should about seal it, folks. So Kimura finds Dos Santos. And that should put the game out of reach, and we are trying to get you a score update of the other game. I can't see that far, apparently. Tushar, you can. So what do you see for the scoreline over there between Iris and Fusion?
It's 9-8 at the current time. And Iris putting on a power line.
Yeah, Grignon Tomas I see out there for sure. Nina Prévost as well. You know Beaudry's going to be out there for Iris. So lots going on, and we're going to try to give you the update as soon as we can.
I definitely can see Howard out there as well. So they've got their strong handlers out.
This should be the final point of this game. So if that point continues past this point, I'm sure we can get a little zoom action, Tushar, and maybe see what's happening out there on field 7.
We potentially can, but that game will end at the same time from a time cap perspective.
Well, that point could go long, though.
Absolutely, and we'll try and bring that to you, but we do know that.
I'm just trying to bring things into fruition here, Tushar. You know, I'm just trying to be optimistic out here. It's cold. We got to bring the optimism to the streams. We got to let the audience at home know there's more Ultimate to come. Come on. Sixers D-line out here. They've sealed the gold medal at the 2021 Ultimate Canada Invitational. Traffic, you're going to have to do a big job of coming back and trying to win this next game between either Iris or Fusion. Horn is gone. That is the cap, folks. So on this side, this game pretty much all but done is done. And then on field 7 there, if Iris can score, it would go to Universe. So let's focus on the point here at hand between Traffic and Sixers, zone point. Proby out there.
And just as you say that, I believe they have updated the score on that far field, 9-9.
So it is Universe over there. That's what you're telling me. Norton.
And just in the background, Fusion has taken that game on Universe.
Yeah, huge layout. I just saw it. Proby outside the end zone was looking for Norton, looks her off. Hammer time. And bobbled, but not caught there.
No call.
Wager. No call. So Winnipeg's Fusion will be taking on Traffic in the women's game to go. We're going to see if 6ixers can finish out this point to cap and finish it out in style for their gold medal victory. Looking for options. High stall count. And blocked by Danny Proby. Wager. Finding Proby underneath. Scoops it with two hands. She's going to fire it out to space. And that's going to be caught by Monica Sue. 13-9 is the final score.
12-9.
Excuse me, 12-9. 6ixers are your 2021 Ultimate Canada Invitational Women's Champions. And they'll be taking on Winnipeg's Fusion for a chance at a WUCC bid. That game will come at you in about 20 minutes. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for joining us for I Am Ultimate's coverage. We do appreciate wherever you're from. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in 20 minutes and be right back.